River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Niner Nuts. I'm Dan, here without James this time. James had to be absent for this week's episodes, but in his place, coming in clutch, is super fan Eric. Thank you for coming on, man. Say hello to YouTube. This is your first time on YouTube.
It is, yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for letting me come back onto the show. I know I've gotten a chance to do some of the audio podcasts before. Really excited to do this video one today, so thank you again.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Thank you for being available. I'm glad the stars aligned just right so we could do this together. So listeners and viewers, we still have all 3 episodes coming to you this week. Eric is going to be my guest host for the week. And before we really get into talking about the game we just had on Saturday, I will just briefly mention Royal Retro Jerseys. They are a sponsor of our show, thanks in part to being partnered with Shady Sports Network. If you want to find a wonderful selection of retro style jerseys, go ahead and stop at royalretros.com. They have an amazing collection of baseball, football, basketball, just whatever you need as a retro style. You don't want to rock something new, you want to look old school, go on there. Use our code Shady Sports. It's right there below me. Use Shady Sports and you'll get 10% off of your order. That's Shady Sports on royalretros.com. Go ahead and check them out. Get you a Royal Retro jersey. So anyway, Saturday, we had a game against the Denver Broncos. It was quite an eventful game when we played them in the regular season last year. And even though it was a preseason game, it was pretty eventful this time around too.
Yeah.
I have 5 or 4. I tried to make it 5, but really I just couldn't find a fourth one. I mean, these 4 big takeaways I took away from the game, they may overlap the takeaways that you got as well, but I will go ahead and list them off. We'll go through them one at a time, I'll say. The quarterback situation. The elephant in the room all off season. It looked like, at least to me, we had a pretty definitive answer. At least to me, call that a hot take. I think we got a pretty definitive answer on how this is going to go. Brock Purdy in the first team. BCB is back. And the first team to me looked solid. They were without Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Trent Williams. But Brock is back, and he looked like he should be the first team starter. He beat the timetables. It's a miracle that he's back. The real talk of the offseason, though, was Sam versus Trey. Sam played a little bit of the first quarter, all the second, and damn near all the third quarter. And honestly, he looked pretty good. I don't personally think that one pick was his fault. Yeah, he kind of stalled out here and there, but getting that touchdown and then going to the bench after that, I mean, at least to me, I think Sam Darnold really cemented himself as our number 2. And I'll say that with with saying that Trey looked better this week than last week. I'll give him that. He did look a little better, but he still looks so raw. He still looks so erratic. His interception, I don't understand what he was trying to do. That pass, he should have just sprinted out and threw it to the sidelines. I don't know why he tried to lob that hot route, but I mean, credit where credit is due. He did hit Ronnie Bell for some clutch passes to get us in field goal range for Moody, and but no, I mean, he looked fine against third and fourth stringers, but I don't know. There's something about Sam. Sam, this is, I believe I probably said this exact sentiment last week. A 50-game starter versus a 5-game starter. Right. The experience is really showing, and I don't know. Something has to really get under Trey for him to take the number 2 spot, at least in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt the same way that you did about everything. I mean, to be honest, in that situation, I mean, I saw Brock play, and he looked good. He looked exactly like Brock of last year. So, I mean, that was a huge relief to see. And as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't even need to play next week. He can just sit. We'll just keep him ready for the start of the regular season.
Kyle was saying that they're probably going to play 1 or 2 series again. I'm not personally opposed to it, but traditionally speaking, the starters would be sitting this game. So I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I'm probably not as high on Darnold as you are. I mean, I thought that he did play fine. He really just kind of looks like
He
Jimmy
cemented
2.0.
himself as number 2. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll go with you on that. I mean, James has him as his like possible comeback player of the year. If you listen to a previous podcast of the show, and I don't think that he's going to achieve that this season. At least I hope not, because we need Brock in there. But I mean, I thought Darnold looked fine. He really looks like Jimmy 2.0 to me. He just kind of is very quick with the release and fairly decisive with the ball. He still kind of makes the occasional boneheaded throw, which Jimmy did. So it's kind of that thing. So and I agree with you on Trey. Trey looks very confused out there still, and that's playing against 3s and 4s. I mean, I just don't know what people would expect him to credibly do if he had to play against 1s or 1s and 2s. I mean, I don't think he's ready. And I mean, it's not really a knock on him. He just hasn't had the time. He's been hurt. And
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think
we saw him go against 2s and he was bad.
yeah, that's true. So I just don't think that he's ready. If the Niners could find a trade partner for him and cut their losses, I mean, I wouldn't be too heartbroken over that personally. But if they kept him as a third quarterback too, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't see any path for him to get anywhere above 3 at this point, unless Darnold goes out and just absolutely stinks next week.
I don't know either, man. Like, it's a lot of it is circumstance, but at the same time, as bad as the circumstances is, when you look at Sam Darnold, who literally has only been here for the summer, and Trey has 3 years of sitting in meeting after meeting after meeting. Yeah, he was rehabbing, but he was in meeting after meeting, and he did have a lot of practices. The excuses are starting to run out. Like, it really is make or break, and it looks like he's breaking, honestly. Like, and I don't know. I really like the way David Lombardi put it. It's not who is going to keep the offense at the same level as the starter. It's whose floor is higher.
Yeah.
And Sam's floor is so clearly much higher than Trey's right now. As much as it pains me to say it, because we don't need to rehash all what the Dolphins turned those 3 first-round picks into, but it's not a great situation. So I don't know. I need to see some miraculous, like, make 300 yards in 2 quarters kind of production from Trey for me to reconsider. At least if I were Kyle. I mean, he's really sold on Sam too. If you hear him talk about him, he's genuinely sold on Sam. So I think internally he's happy that he can put somebody ahead of Trey, because I don't know. I'm starting to think that he was just putting on a face at the time, or he may just be he may be regretting having some buyer's remorse. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, it just kind of is what it is at this point in time. And, I think everybody, fans and the team alike, are ready to just move forward with any of that stuff and, let it be where it is. And I mean, if we're sitting here 6, 8, 9 weeks into the season and we're talking about Trey as the starting quarterback for our team, we're probably in a pretty bad situation. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
We're probably back into a 2020 situation where we're all going to get hurt playing the Giants week 3 in our home opener.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some other things that I liked about the game. I thought Mason continues to run hard and run well. I thought that was really good. They keep featuring Bell a lot on offense. He seems to also run really hard, and he's doing a good job with kick returns. So, I mean, I think that's particularly promising. I had some stuff that I didn't like about the game. And we'll probably end up talking about it another point in time too, but the defense is not really getting any pressures without Bosa at all. And that's worrisome in my regard. So
yeah, I do have one thing about the defense. I actually didn't really have too many things to stick about, except one. It wasn't the defense, but that is a very fair point that we need Bosa as that distraction to get Hargrave and Armstead and Jackson once he's not injured anymore. I think he had I think he's dealing with a hamstring right now. But if it is those 4 guys, so much less pressure is going to be on them when they're worrying about double teaming Bosa. And I can only imagine right now how amazing that's going to look if all 4 of them stay healthy.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
But we will address Bosa later. If not this episode, it's definitely the next one. But I want to piggyback on Bell real quick before we talk about the big negative that I have. Bell is amazing. I know he's playing against 2s and 3s most of the time, but
Yeah.
I would need to hear a pretty compelling argument to convince me otherwise that he would be a starting slot receiver or a starting number 2. I'm not that over the moon. He's not going to be, he wouldn't be someone's number 1 receiver right now. He's still way too young, but dude, it's just the bad luck of being on our depth chart that he's only going to be 4th or 5th, depending on if they put Ray above him or not. Like, I would need to hear a pretty damn good reason why he is not behind Juwan Jennings the way that he's been playing, or at least start him, or at least slot him week 1 behind Juwan Jennings as our number 4. He's got yak ability. He's got a little bit of butterfingers, like both of the interceptions.
Yeah.
Both of the picks from Sam were 100% his fault.
Yeah, really, right through his hands.
And then the other one off his helmet. Like, but really, like, you can condition his hands. Like, you can condition someone to get that better, especially somebody this young and getting used to this pace.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is that really that hot take in your opinion that Ronnie Bell should be our number 4?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if I'm just looking at the roster and I'm looking at things, like, I don't know that I'm going to keep Ray and not keep Ronnie Bell. I mean, Ray doesn't really bring a whole lot to the team offensively other than just running a really deep go route really fast, and we just don't throw passes. So, I mean, I think that, quite honestly, keeping Bell over Ray would probably be the better option, and that gives us a solid return person still, and then yet someone that we can still put in and that can run the offense, you know. And I mean,
so you would put him over Ray for returns, because he's a Pro Bowl returner. Like, that's why we signed him, was that because of his return ability.
I guess it depends on. I mean, it depends on how you have to chop up the roster spots, right? I mean, if I have to keep 5 or 6 receivers. I mean, I'm just looking at what else we have on the roster. Like, kind of want to keep Danny Gray, right? So, I mean, we've got Debo, we've got Ayuk, we've got Jennings, we've got Gray. So then there's really only 1-ish, maybe 2 spots left. So, I mean, if you're only keeping 5, I don't know that I'm going to keep Ray over Ronnie, just because, like I said, Ronnie looks like he brings a little bit more to the actual offense versus what Ray does.
That is true. I don't know if I know he signed a small contract. I don't know if he got his contract paid out yet. If he doesn't have guaranteed money, then yeah, we could try to trade him or just let him walk, because I mean, he wouldn't be worth that much of trade value anyway. Because when you're a punt returner, your trade value's not that high.
Well, and I mean, the other thing to keep in mind too is they just changed all the kick rules this year too. So I mean, like, kick returners aren't necessarily that valuable anymore, because you can just fair catch the ball and then you get it at the 25 now. So I mean, the times where you're actually going to return kicks is probably going to be pretty minimal. Now, punt returns, okay, sure, but I mean, I watched Bell return a bunch of punts. He's been doing fine.
Yeah, no, he has, like, it's that yak ability. He really has some burst in open field. I would love to see him against number 1s, like the legit number 1 special teams, and see how he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be shocked if he wasn't actually the kick returner to start the year, because Ray's dealing with that broken wrist.
Right.
So I'd imagine that broken wrist might actually save him, put him on short-term IR, and then we'll just kick someone off the roster when he's healthy. But at least to start the year, I could see, Danny and Ronnie making it, and then Willie Snead and Chris Connolly, and I can't remember the other receiver. They've been camp bodies for us like 2 or 3 years in a row and never making the final roster, except Willie was on the roster for the last 2 games of the season. I think we promoted him like on the one-time bump up.
Yeah, something like that. Which is wild, because he was like really good in New Orleans when he played with Drew Brees, and then like he disappeared.
Well, he played in Baltimore. That's why.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, Baltimore was not. He was one of the only receivers that was open. He was the receiver that was the most open about like, don't be a wide receiver in Baltimore. It's terrible here. Well, Greg Roman was just having them run go routes. That's why. Like,
Yeah.
But that's another topic. I do want to say on defense, since you were speaking of defense, I do want to shine a light on one nice thing that was out there on defense. And you remember the name Avery Thomas from 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Before he spent last year in the doghouse, and he was injured. I don't want to completely say it was the doghouse, but the way they set up the corners right now, at least right now, the way they were playing with it, it was him on the one outside, and then Ward on the other out, and then Diamador Lenore playing the nickel.
Yeah.
Dude, both of these last two games, the Raiders and the Broncos, Avery Thomas was making some pretty awesome breakups, and he looked like it's preseason. I'm taking it with a grain of salt, of course, but dude, if Avery Thomas is playing like he did at the end of 21 and and that means Diamador can play the nickel like he was supposed to last year before E-Man tore his ACL and moved him on the outside, I don't know. Call me crazy. I think I'm a little optimistic. I'm pretty optimistic about our secondary with Hufanga and Gibson both returning next year.
Yeah.
I think we might have a pretty solid secondary if Avery Thomas is playing like he did in 21 again.
Yeah, I think so too. That opposite corner, from whoever our main guy has been on the one side has been a thorn in the 49ers side for the last few years now. I mean, we had Sherman, and then we had a bunch of just nobodies across from him. And then, now we got Ward, and we had a bunch of nobodies across from him. But
we tried Jason Verrett like 3 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, we had, the ghost of Josh Norman over there for a while too. I mean, it was really all bad.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was just, he was a pass interference and defensive holding penalty every time. So.
Yeah, he was terrible.
I mean, I would love to see Thomas take over and flourish in that role. I still think that, for our corners to be successful, they have to have a good pass rush up front. I think Ward is probably fine, but I don't think, Lenore or Thomas is going to hold up over an extended period of time if they have to really kind of run around back there a bunch. I think the whole key, and this is the way that the 49ers are set up, is to apply that pressure up front so that the ball has to come out fast and the corners don't have to cover very long. So I think if they can really execute what they're supposed to do defensively, they'll be okay. I have some concerns because I saw some things that I didn't really like. So again, it's preseason. I hate season football. I just hate it. Preseason football is the worst. Can't stand it. And I don't know that it ever is a true indicator of what to expect, in the regular season. But I still saw us getting screen passed to death. The Broncos use screen passes effectively. That's always a concern for me. We did a pretty bad job of defending the run in that game, to be honest. They were running all over us, which is something that shouldn't happen to our defense. I'm kind of chalking that part up to just being preseason and everybody's probably not going 100% and really trying to shed those blocks like they should be and things like that. But they need to shore those things up, or it's going to be rough sledding, because if teams can run on us, then they're going to play action pass us and screen pass us and stuff like that to death, and we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I am a little concerned at our depth for sure. Like, yes, it is preseason, but so hopefully we only need to see these guys like piecemealed in. Like the offensive line, it was a little better this time than the Raiders game, but the offensive line looked really, really subpar. Kind of like what you were saying about just the defense in general. Like, I only am not as worried about the defense because it should be Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, and then I don't know. It's a crapshoot who the third one's going to be, if it's going to be Odom or Makari Ball. But when you got Greenlaw and Warner doing the majority of the lifting, the other guy
doesn't matter.
The other guy's going to be okay. Like we just got
lucky. I could play linebacker; it would be fine.
We got lucky that Al-Shaair was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly, I'm not that worried if it is going to be one of those guys. I mean, but yeah, the real key uh, is how dominant the front seven is, how fast the front seven are. Because if those three linebackers are covering the middle as good as they are for the quick runs, then they have to look deep. But then they have to rush looking deep instead of letting the play come out, because here comes Bosa, here comes Armstead. Here's what I was trying to explain to James last week, just to dogpile on him a little bit. He posed a fun question about if we're paying too much for the linebackers, and that's what I said.
Not even close.
No,
Warner is absolutely elite at his position. Absolutely elite. And Greenlaw would be a starting number one linebacker on anybody else's team. Like, we're so fortunate to have him
we
as
have him
kind of
for
our
$7 million this year. We are paying him
yeah.
pennies to what he played last year.
Yeah. I mean, like, no, those two guys, I mean, Warner especially is 100% elite. Greenlaw is really, 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 really good. So, I mean,
Should have been
like,
an all pro. I will
yeah.
die on that anthill. He should have been an all pro.
Yeah, I mean the thing that makes those guys so impressive is they wipe out stuff side to side on the field. Like, if you try to run wide on them, they are so fast. They just hunt you down and just destroy you going to the sides. I mean, they just wipe everything out side to side. So, I mean, it makes it impossible for teams to go on the outsides, of our defense. They have to come up the gut. Well, then now when you're going up the gut, you're going against Armstead, you're going against Hargrave. I mean, it's all designed to sort of feed into that middle. Or you're coming against, even if Hufanga drops down into the box. I mean, it's all set up to feed and go that way. I'm going to be curious to see how Wilkes does this season coaching the team. Obviously, I would feel a lot better if we still had oh shoot, I just blanked, Ryan's
Mm-hmm.
as the coach. It's always kind of sketchy when you turn things over. One of the other things that I noticed in this preseason game was they blitzed a lot more.
Oh yeah, Hufunga came down a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Wilkes is kind of known for. It's what he does, is he blitzes a little bit more, and that can be good or bad, right? That can lead to a lot of extra pressures, or it can expose you on the back end, and you can get kind of chewed up if you're not getting home on the blitz. I mean, that's the big thing. I don't know that we have to blitz. I think maybe he's just doing it because it's preseason and we're playing, kind of a mismatch of guys that aren't necessarily going to be the starters. Because I wouldn't think, when you've got Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, and Jackson, that you need to blitz. Those four guys should be able to get home pretty frequently. But I guess we'll see how it all plays out once the real games start happening instead of these glorified practices. I
Dude,
hate preseason football.
call me a fanboy, but Jackson had 5 sacks before he got benched during the second half of the season. Like,
Yeah.
he really, if he comes on like he did and can do that the whole season, like, I don't know. I remember Armstead was out for most of for a lot of last year with his foot injury. Like, barring an injury, knock on wood, pretty hard. Our front seven, not just the front four, should be so good. I am seeing what our time is, and I cannot move to the next episode before asking you, on a peed your pants scale between none at all and you're running to the hamper, like trying to make sure nobody notices that you just soaked your pants. How worried are you about our special teams? Because me personally, I think Mitch Wisnowski just had an off day, because that was so uncharacteristic of him to
Yeah.
have 3 terrible punts in one game.
Yeah.
The return game was not good. We had the drop. I don't know. I'll chalk it up a little bit too. We didn't have Ray out there, somebody with more experience. But Moody, I'm not ready to call him Roberto Aguayo yet, but that game-winning kick nearly missed.
Yeah.
It nearly missed.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So I'm not worried about Wisnowski. He doesn't bother me in the slightest. He'll be fine. He just had a bad game, and that's okay.
Everybody gets one bad game.
Yeah, I mean, he's been punting for a while now, and he's always been really consistent. So I'm not worried about Not worried about him at all. Yeah, I mean, Jake has me a little concerned because all of his kicks are kind of just like shooting out in different directions, kind of like out of a shotgun. They're not really going down the middle like I'm used to seeing from Robbie over the years. So I am a little bit worried. I guess I'm hoping that once he gets into a real game situation and starts actually kind of knocking a couple through, in a real game, that he'll just kind of get some confidence and be like, okay, yep, you know what, I can do this. Because, I mean, from all accounts, he's banging them through at practice from 50, 55, 60 yards. I mean, like, he's drilling them like it's no problem at all. So he clearly has the skills. He clearly has the capability. It's just a mental thing for him right now. And I think once he gets in there, at least I'm hoping once he gets in there for a little bit and kind of knocks some nerves out, he'll be all right.
He's got two great special teamers working with him between Wisnowski and Tabor Pepper.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would bet that at least one of these misses he had was a bad snap from Pepper. I'm not going to solely put it all on him, like, because they all work in tandem. If Pepper has a bad snap, then it doesn't matter how Wisnowski catches it. Like, he's screwed. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit of a chemistry thing like that. At least I hope it is. I hope we don't have an Aguayo situation on our hands. I mean, I don't know. I think that I don't know. I don't know if that's going to give him pause to bring out Zane Gonzalez to try out. Because Zane did do one kickoff the last kickoff he did was to boot it like deep into the end zone, even though Moody did the game-winning kick anyway. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're still leaving Zane out to dry, hanging him out to dry, because when we got him, we traded, I think it was 2025 7th round picks.
We did trade something for him. That's right. I forgot about that.
I think it was 7th round in 2025 like
yeah, it was something stupid. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I guess, they drafted Jake third. He's going to, in the third round, he's going to play, he's going to make the team. He's going to be the quote unquote kicker for this season. But I mean, I'm sure the team is going to have a short leash with him in the sense that, if he's going along and he, coughs up a couple games or, misses some critical kicks at some point in time, I mean, we'll be out there on the waiver wire picking up a kicker, no problem. I have no doubt about that.
Oh, dude, just today, while I was watching the replay, Crosby is not in Green Bay. I didn't know that until the day.
What?
We're 3 weeks into preseason.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Shoot. I mean, I think he was still good last year.
Crosby only had that one really bad year, like 2015 or 16, like forever ago. Like,
What was the one game where he missed like 5 kicks in a row or some crazy shit like that? Remember that?
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Like, I think that was part of that really bad year he had, or maybe it was even 2014. But he's been solid ever since. Like, he kicked fine last year.
Yeah.
Like,
So
maybe it's
like, I'm not that overly concerned about it. I mean, if something happens, then we'll just go get a kicker. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
I side with John. James has been loving giving John Lynch a little bit of crap, some of it for the show, but some of it is real concern. I don't know. I'm on John's side, though, that to get Moody with the kind of pedigree that he had, he wasn't going to be available in the 5th.
No.
And we didn't have a 4th round pick, so if we didn't pick him then, like, I understand and stand by him in that rationale when everybody was dogpiling on him. I just wanted to throw that out there again because it triggers me.
No, you're 100% right, though. I mean, he wasn't going to be available, and if we felt we needed a kicker, which we did, I mean, that was the right place and time to take a kicker. Now, and we'll get into this probably on the next show or whatever, but I mean, we're either 100%, it seems like, or 0, it seems like, on our picks. Either like we get a pick and it's really, really good and they're a superstar, or we take somebody and they absolutely suck. So, I mean, like, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of in between. So hopefully he's able to, like I said, get past this little bit of stuff that he's had going on. All the reports out of training camp and everybody that I've read, seems to say that he's a really good kid and that he's, doing all the right things. So I think he'll turn it around.
I do too. I sure hope so. I think with that, though, I think that's been a good recap of this game. I do need to let you all know on bonfire.com, we have made a series of shirts to raise funds for charity. All the proceeds from the shirts I'm about to show you are going to be going to charity. We haven't picked the specific charity yet, but it is going to be a Kentucky Rape and Crisis Center. We are going to be narrowing that down when we end the campaign. But this charity that we're doing is stemming from the seemingly lack of accountability that owners have been having. Our owner included with his civil lawsuit, the Houston Texans minority owner who kind of kickstarted all of this, so to say. And then we just ended our campaign with Dan Snyder since he got ousted. But there just seemingly seems to be a lack of accountability when it comes to owners. Not hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully, but maybe we'll see that infamous PowerPoint that Dan Snyder was talking about and see what's going on with everybody. But for right now, in the meantime, we do want to start this campaign with this hashtag below: owner accountability, owner standards over player standards, because it really is a double standard to us how scrutinized players get. Like if a player did what the minority owner of the Houston Texans did, and he would have been cut immediately, and we wouldn't be finding out months after the fact that the NFL was sitting on it. So the shirts that we have here, this is our owner standards over player standards, owner accountability shirt. We have brought back, this was exclusive to the Dan Snyder situation. Shout out to Draft Guru Steve for helping design this shirt with the owner standoff. We have our show cover art here on this beautiful shirt. We have an alternate show cover as well here in this beautiful red that James has shown off to you. And the newest shirt in our collection is this adorable little peanut. And again, all of these proceeds from the shirts are going to go to a Kentucky Crisis Center that we will name once we have it like locked in. We're in communication with them right now. And this is just one of those things where some things in life are bigger than football. And that's something that we're very proud of. We wanted to do more interviews, but things just came up during the off season and we couldn't quite get them all organized that we wanted to. But we do want to take advantage of this and at least do our part in trying to hold owners accountable. So with that is all we got for this episode. Be sure to check us out on all social media platforms under Niner Nuts. We're here on YouTube in the Shady Sports Network channel, as well as our own Niner Nuts channel. Check us out on TikTok as well. I already said Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the good stuff right there. And Eric, thank you for joining me this week. You are going to be back with me for the rest of this week. And our game against the Chargers, I don't have the time in front of me because I'm a bad host and didn't pull that up, but it's going to be Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
That this Saturday, our preseason finale against the LA Chargers. It's probably going to be 4:00 East Coast time, but I will confirm that on tomorrow's episode, our Wednesday episode. So hang tight for that. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, listening. Thank you, Shady Sports Network. Be sure to check out all the programming that is on their channel as well. And we will catch you next time, guys. Beat the Chargers.
Yep.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got